narrative that is the backbone for most of the work that I do is called After the Woods. There's a man named Versus and a woman named Polygon from our time, present day, who appear in this alternate universe, a future version of Earth without humans, but where all the archives that the humans have left are present. They're separated pretty much in the beginning of the narrative before they realize that they're alive and awake in this alternate world. And once they appear, they begin an odyssey where they transform the man into a knight and then a tree, and the woman into a princess and then a spaceship. In the end, they are reunited, and so they give birth to the child that they conceived at the beginning of the story. Essentially, After the Woods is my attempt to make a present-day mythology or fairy tale for adults. The narrative is broken down into different chapters. There are chapters called In Shadows, which is when the knight goes blind and has to navigate the woods by touch only. There's a chapter called Love of Philipores. Philipores are these magical birds that don't fly in any conventional way. They move through matter, and they carry most of the information on their feathers, from the princess or Polygon to Versus and the knight. She represents everything that's technological in the world, and he represents everything that's organic or vegetable or nature. While they're separated, they still try and communicate with one another in order to find one another, but he's not quite reading the messages clearly. And so that's another main theme where communication breaks down. The narrative really explores what's at the core of all stories, which is the separation of body and mind, or body and spirit, and reconciling those two together. This drawing is called currently Assembly of Crowns or Stumps. It depicts 33 different stumps, which each are a stage for different themes that are explored in the narrative After the Woods. This particular tree over here, which is actually growing out of a stump, is called The Soft Secret. In it, we see that the branches are looping back on themselves. This one's called Anonymous Offerings, which is gesture of giving and receiving without knowing where the gift came from. In this particular case, they happen to be blooms. This is an area of landings where the princess, when she descends from the atmosphere as a spaceship, would land on this area. There's a couple of philipores, one that's covered in fabric, it's unfinished yet. This one has all the bags of the collected feathers behind it, and there's a rope and some blooms that are trapped around its neck. That's part of the mating grounds, which is some of the rituals that the philipores have to do in order to mate. This is a series of drawings that can illustrate my process of drawing. This one is just penciled in, and it's just one of the first runs. This is after quite a bit of drawing with graphite, then ink starts to solidify the line. This is about 75 to 80% finished, and all of the major themes are in place now, but there's still a lot of detail work and modeling that needs to take place. That brings a lot of the information, the details come in then. What's important is the relationship between all of the different themes and characters, symbols that create the metaphors and create meaning that we can build from.